Most people think power is loud. They think victory belongs to the man who swings first, or the army that marches with thunder in their boots, or the warrior who boasts of what he will conquer. But Sun Tzu and Miyamoto Musashi taught a different truth. The greatest victory is the one achieved without fighting. Sun Tzu: perceive the way of the warrior and do nothing that is not essential. Musashi: this is the doctrine of silent strength, the strength that is invisible, quiet, deliberate, the strength that doesn't need to shout, the strength that watches, waits, adapts, and strikes only when necessary. Both Sun Tzu and Musashi understood that restraint is not weakness. It is the highest form of mastery. This video will take you through that mastery. Not the noisy, dramatic form of power, but the calm, strategic, unshakable power that wins battles before they begin. Let us begin. Sun Tzu wrote, "If you are calm, the enemy will be disordered." Musashi echoed, "From one thing, know 10,000 things." Both statements point toward the first pillar of silent strength, a mind that is still, observant, and controlled. Most people lose before the battle begins because they are ruled by emotion. Anger moves them too early. Fear makes them retreat too quickly. Impatience turns a winning position into a losing one. Sun Tzu warned, "When the enemy is angry, unsettle him. When he is proud, humiliate him." He understood human emotional weakness better than anyone. And he understood that when your opponent is emotional, you have already won half the battle. Musashi reinforced the same. Do not let your opponent see your spirit. If he cannot read your emotions, he cannot predict your movements. Silent strength begins here, a warrior who is unreadable, calm in every situation, a mind like a still pond, reflecting everything, disturbed by nothing. This is the foundation of all strategy. Strategic restraint is not passivity. It is a deliberate discipline, the ability to hold back when ego wants you to act. Musashi said, "The true science of martial arts means practicing so that your opponent cannot understand you." Sun Tzu said, "Appear weak when you are strong, and strong when you are weak." To the undisciplined mind, restraint looks like hesitation. To the strategic mind, restraint is preparation, gathering information, testing the environment, letting the opponent reveal himself. Silent strength means you strike not when you feel like it, but only when it guarantees victory. Most people act out of ego. They rush to prove themselves, defend their pride, show they are unafraid. But Sun Tzu destroys this illusion. He will win who knows when not to fight. There is more power in choosing not to engage than in swinging blindly. This is why restraint is not weakness. It is control, it is maturity, it is wisdom. It is the difference between the impulsive novice and the seasoned strategist. Sun Tzu's entire philosophy rests on one idea. Supreme excellence consists in breaking the enemy's resistance without fighting. Most people misunderstand this. It isn't about running from conflict. It's about mastering conflict so deeply that you no longer need to rely on violence to win. Musashi understood this too. Late in his life, he wrote, "The ultimate aim is to defeat your opponent in the mind before the sword is drawn." To defeat a man's mind is to defeat his will. To defeat his will is to defeat everything. Silent strength wins the psychological battle first. It sees the field from above, like standing atop a mountain while your opponent stands in a valley. When you predict him, when you understand him, when you see the openings he does not see, you have already won. You win without fighting because the fight is over long before he realizes it began. This is not just martial strategy, this is life strategy. You win arguments without speaking. You win competitions without rushing. You win opportunities without begging. You win battles without hatred. This is silent strength. Musashi taught that the warrior must be like water, fluid, unpredictable, impossible to grasp. Sun Tzu taught the same. Be extremely subtle, even to the point of formlessness. To be invisible does not mean to hide, it means to reveal nothing essential. People lose because they telegraph everything, their intentions, their feelings, their insecurities, their next move. Silent strength removes all of this. Musashi wrote, "Do nothing which is of no use." This includes revealing your mind, your motives, your fears. Sun Tzu reinforced, mystify, mislead, and surprise the enemy. When you become unpredictable, you gain absolute advantage. People will not know how to attack you. They will not know how to respond to you. They will not know what you want, and that alone gives you power. Before you defeat any opponent, you must defeat the chaos inside you. Sun Tzu begins the art of war with this truth. If you know yourself and know the enemy, you need not fear the result of 100 battles. But most people skip the first part. Knowing themselves, Musashi warned, "Fixation is the way to death. Fluidity is the way to life." A rigid mind breaks easily. A flexible mind survives anything. Silent strength demands internal mastery. Control your reactions. Control your thoughts. Control your impulses. Control your perceptions. Control your energy. When you master yourself, no opponent can exploit you. Sun Tzu wrote, "The commander stands for virtue of wisdom, sincerity, humanity, courage, and strictness." These virtues begin within you. The battle outside is easy once the battle inside is over. Silent strength is efficient. It wastes nothing. Musashi emphasized, "Do nothing that is not useful." The warrior conserves energy, movement, emotion, and attention. Sun Tzu aligned with this perfectly. There is no instance of a nation benefiting from prolonged warfare. Prolonged conflict drains life. Therefore, the strategic warrior avoids unnecessary battles, minimizes wasted effort, cuts away distractions, moves directly toward the objective. In life, most people burn themselves out by fighting too many battles that don't matter. Silent strength is selective strength. It chooses the battles that matter, and only those. This is why such a person seems unstoppable. All their energy is concentrated. When you waste nothing, your power becomes unstoppable. Musashi often spoke of rhythm and balance. In all things, have no preferences. This meant emotional neutrality, the ability to move with the natural flow of events. Sun Tzu wrote a similar principle. Water shapes its course according to the ground. The centered warrior does not force life. He aligns with it, he adapts, he flows. Silent strength is rooted in balance. Not too aggressive, not too passive, not too cold, not too emotional, not too fast, not too slow. Balance is not passive. It is dynamic control. In combat, imbalance creates openings. In life, imbalance creates chaos. When you are centered, nothing can pull you off path. Sun Tzu famously wrote, "If your opponent is of choleric temper, seek to irritate him." One of the smartest ways to do this, appear unthreatening. Musashi described this tactic in duels. When your opponent attacks, feign weakness. Why? Because a confident opponent becomes reckless. A reckless opponent becomes predictable. A predictable opponent becomes defeated. Silent strength often looks like humility, modesty, or indifference. Do not let the world misinterpret you. Let them believe what they wish. You gain more by being underestimated than by being feared. The tiger that crouches low strikes with more force. Silent strength is not flashy. It is endurance, the ability to persist without complaint or glory. Musashi wrote, "Today is victory over yourself of yesterday." Sun Tzu wrote, In the midst of chaos, there is also opportunity. The warrior endures chaos because he sees beyond it. He sees transformation. He sees growth. He sees the next step, even when the world is shaking. Silent strength endures, long seasons of training, quiet years of discipline, invisible struggles, pain no one sees, sacrifices others overlook. This is the backbone of mastery, not talent, not gifts, not luck, endurance. A sword is not meant to be drawn easily. Its power is in its potential, not its constant use. Musashi fought over 60 duels, and in most of them, he ended the fight with a single decisive strike. Sun Tzu echoed, "Move only when you see an advantage and there is something to gain." The undisciplined man swings too much. The disciplined man swings only once, but with precision and finality, silent strength attacks only when the enemy reveals a weakness. The timing is perfect. The outcome is favorable. The objective is clear. The victory is certain. This is why their actions seem deadly efficient, because they do nothing unnecessary, but everything essential. One of the most misunderstood aspects of both Sun Tzu and Musashi is their view of emotion during conflict. Musashi wrote, "Do not have preferences. Do not harbor resentment." Sun Tzu taught, "Treat your men as you would your own beloved sons, and they will follow you into the deepest valley." You cannot lead with hatred. You cannot think clearly with hatred. You cannot fight strategically with hatred. Hatred clouds strategy. Hatred narrows vision. Hatred blinds judgment. Silent strength fights without hate. It fights with purpose, clarity, and necessity. It engages because the situation calls for it, not because the heart demands revenge. This is higher than discipline. It is transcendence. To fight without hate is to fight without weakness. Silence is not emptiness. Silence is information. Sun Tzu used silence as a weapon of deception. Musashi used silence to read timing and rhythm. When you speak too much, you reveal your intentions. When you remain silent, you force the world to reveal itself. Silence exposes others, calms situations, creates mystery, protects your mind, amplifies your presence. Silent strength is not just the absence of noise, it is the presence of awareness. It hears what others miss. It sees what others ignore. It understands what others misjudge. Silence is a form of vision. To see clearly is the highest strategic skill. Sun Tzu wrote, "Know the ground, know the weather, know your men." Musashi wrote, "Perceive that which cannot be seen with the eye." This is strategic perception, the ability to see deeper than appearances. Silent strength sees the motive behind the words, the weakness behind the anger, the fear behind the aggression, the opportunity behind the chaos, the truth behind the illusion. The average man reacts to what is obvious. The warrior reacts to what is hidden. This clarity turns conflict into advantage. It turns danger into opportunity. It turns uncertainty into control. Sun Tzu spoke of fortifications and strongholds, but he hinted that the strongest fortress is internal. The general who advances without coveting fame and retreats without fearing disgrace is the jewel of the kingdom. Musashi echoed inner strength. To win any battle, you must fight as if you are already dead. Both teachings point to the death of ego, the collapse of the inner barriers that cause fear. When ego dies, a fortress is built. Silent strength is born from emotional independence, detachment, unshakable confidence, purpose, clarity, inner peace. No enemy can breach a fortress built inside you. No storm can shake a foundation rooted in stillness. When the moment arrives, silent strength awakens. Sun Tzu said, "Speed is the essence of war." Musashi said, "Strike with certainty without the slightest hesitation." The warrior may wait for days, weeks, months, but when the timing aligns, he acts with precision, speed, confidence, finality. This is the power of restraint. You conserve your energy so that when the moment calls, you unleash everything with perfect timing. The decisive strike ends the conflict instantly. There is no wasted movement, no second guessing, no unnecessary force. Victory arrives swiftly and silently. Both Sun Tzu and Musashi understood a paradox. The warrior becomes unstoppable, not by resisting everything, but by resisting nothing internally. Musashi wrote, "Think lightly of yourself and deeply of the world." Sun Tzu wrote, "Let your plans be dark and impenetrable, and when you move, fall like a thunderbolt." To resist nothing internally means you accept reality fully, the terrain, your weaknesses, your fears, the enemy's strengths. With acceptance comes clarity. With clarity comes effective action. With action comes victory. Silent strength flows around obstacles instead of breaking against them. It adapts, it shifts, it evolves. This is why it cannot be stopped. Musashi grew increasingly philosophical in his final years, writing, "Do not seek pleasure for its own sake. Do not fear death." Sun Tzu encouraged rulers to avoid rage, greed, and impulsiveness. Both saw emotional turbulence as the enemy. Silent strength is rooted in tranquility, a peaceful heart, a disciplined mind, an unshakable core. A tranquil heart makes the warrior impossible to manipulate. You cannot anger him, you cannot provoke him, you cannot intimidate him, you cannot lure him, you cannot deceive him because he moves with intention, not emotion. This is the strongest version of a human being. In modern life, the battlefield is not always physical. It is mental, emotional, social, digital. Noise surrounds you, endless opinions, conflicts, expectations, comparisons, distractions. Silent strength rises above all of it. Musashi lived as a ronin, a man untethered, independent, inwardly focused. Sun Tzu wrote of the general who lives a quiet life in the midst of chaos. This is your path. To live quietly, to act deliberately, to move strategically, to rise without shouting, to win without noise. As we close this journey, let us unify the teachings. Silent strength means you fight only when necessary. You act only when timing is perfect. You remain unreadable and calm. You win without hatred. You endure without complaint. You speak less and see more. You move with precision and purpose. You control yourself before controlling anything else. You choose your battles wisely. You live with tranquility. You rise quietly. You strike decisively. Sun Tzu and Musashi were warriors, but also philosophers. They understood human nature and the power of restraint. Their message is not ancient. It is eternal. Silent strength is the path to mastery, not just in battle, but in life. The world rewards noise, but history remembers those who mastered stillness. You do not need to shout. You do not need to prove yourself. You do not need to fight every battle. You only need to move with discipline, clarity, and purpose. This is the way of the silent warrior. This is the doctrine of strategic restraint. This is your path. Silent strength is within you. Activate it, live it, become it. When you master restraint, you master yourself. And when you master yourself, there is no enemy left to fear.